Your thoughts on Dolphins Chargers, Rob? Do you like the Dolphins as underdogs in this game? Do you think they can win it outright?
Man, I gotta tell you, I'm so up in the air on Tua Tagovailoa, and I'm talking both in terms of his health and even like I'm nervous to watch this game play as a human being, right? Like I can't watch that guy get rattled like we watched him get rattled multiple times last year. Look, he's a full-grown man. If he gets the advice of his doctors and he wants to play, who the hell am I to stop him? But Justin Herbert, I have heard every range of opinion about this kid. I got into a conversation with a guy the other day that Justin Herbert is better than Joe Burrow, that Justin Herbert's just been waiting for the right setup in LA to show that he is that guy. I think this game could very well be the game of the weekend. I don't like that 3 line. Honestly, like this feels almost maybe like a -1.5 game for San Diego, and I'd feel a little bit better about it. I don't like having to lay the full field goal because I think that's right in the ballpark of what I'd like. The Dolphins did, I think, get a little bit better. I really like Mike McDaniels, by the way, as a coach. Like, I think that dude deserves a little bit more credit than he's been getting for what he's building down there. I would have loved if Dalvin Cook ended up a Dolphin. I thought that would have been an incredible fit with Tua. I was a little bummed out he did not, although him with Rodgers is kind of interesting. I don't think I can talk myself into a play on this game. I think I'm going to put this into that category of let me check this live. Like, let me watch this game and live bet it, because I suspect if San Diego comes out to a hot start, that Dolphins line might move to like a 6.5. Maybe a 7.5, in which case I'd jump all over it if San Diego, or I keep going San Diego. It's because I'm old, people. Leave me alone. If LA jumps hot start, I think maybe I could get the Dolphins and a few extra points that would entice me into coming over. But that line at 3 is it's just very iffy to me. I don't hate taking the Dolphins outright plus 135 on the money line. I can't convince myself that the Chargers aren't going to be better this year, and that the Dolphins are going to you got to hold back Tua a little bit, right? Like, I think you cannot risk throwing Tua to the Wolves and using a lot of designed QB stuff like I would have liked them to have done in this game. So I'm probably stay away, and maybe let's take a look at it live in process.
Yeah, man. That game, it's one of 2 totals on the board that is over 50, of Kansas City and Detroit, 54.5. Dolphins Chargers sitting at 51. It's going to be a great game because both teams are at full strength, and we know the big question mark with the Dolphins, obviously, is Tua's health. Ramsey, I know, is out for a while for the Dolphins, but outside of that, they pretty much have everybody. And then the Chargers, who are consistently deal with injuries. It feels like Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are just the kings of day-to-day and whether or not they're going to play, and they're always on the injury report. So you get as healthy as those rosters will be all year, which should make for an awesome game. Sunday Night Football, Rob, surprise, surprise. Dallas opens the season on Sunday Night Football against the Giants, over under 46.5. Cowboys favored by 3. This was actually at 3.5 for just about the entire summer. And now this week, as people are starting to look at NFL, they're starting to bet these games. The hook is no more on BetMGM. Dallas now favored by a flat 3 at the Giants. Now, Dallas was very good against New York last year. The Giants really struggled against the Cowboys. They struggled to stop Dallas's offense. And then on the flip side, Daniel Jones and the Giants offense really struggled against that Cowboys pass rush, their speed. Do you kind of see more of the same this year? Do you like Dallas in that matchup against the Giants?
I actually like New York in this one. I'm actually probably going to play New York in this one with the +3. I really would have liked to get that hook involved and keep it there. But first off, I'm going to go Saquon Barkley. After the season of running backs, the off season of running backs that wasn't ultimately, I think Saquon Barkley, if he is good to go and 100%, ends up being the difference in this game. I worry about the wide receiver depth, but I'm going to tell you who I really like in this game to be a difference maker, and that is Darren Waller. I think Darren Waller could be huge in this game. I think he gives Danny Dimes, now that they've had some time to work together in the back pocket, I think he gives them a really, really good out in the red zone, which is a place the Giants struggled with a little bit last year. Now they've got a bigger weapon with Darren Waller having some time spent with Danny Dimes. So I'm actually going to lean a little bit towards New York in this one. It's not my most confident bet of the weekend, but if there's one thing that I can trust, PJ, it's that the closer we get to game day, I can always trust the Dallas fans who believe the boys are going bowling every single year to tease that line to a more favorable place for anybody betting against Dallas. So I'm actually going to wait on this game. I'll probably make this bet like Sunday afternoon because I suspect that line is going to move maybe to closer to a 4, maybe a 4.5 if we get real lucky, because Dallas fans can't help themselves but just believe every year, this is it. We've done it. We figured it out, as if we haven't been doing the same damn thing for the past 25 years in a row and changed nothing. So I'll let Dallas fans tease that line up for me a little bit, and I'll snag it when it inevitably moves to 4 by Sunday night.
Yeah, I think this thing does get bet back up to 3.5. So I think if you like Dallas, I jump on them now. I don't think this goes to 2.5. I think 3 is your buy low point on Dallas. I kind of like the under in this game, Rob. I think the Giants are going to have a tough time scoring on this Dallas defense. I think Dallas's defense is going to be really good this year. Dan Quinn's back as their DC, Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, Van Der Esch, DeMarcus Lawrence. I mean, they got playmakers all over the field. So I think Daniel Jones and the Giants struggle. Now, the addition of Darren Waller and Jalen Hyatt, the rookie out of Tennessee, I think will help the offense this year. But I think in this game particularly, I think they struggle. And then the Giants' defense was solid last year, especially at home. They were very good at home. So I kind of like that under 46.5 in Giants and Cowboys.
You know, I'm never going to doubt the experts in the desert. I always say that they're so close. So if they say it's opened up at, 7, 8
Yep.
In some sports books, I think it's going to be that type of game. I think this is a fourth quarter game. And I don't know where the real Alabama is currently, and I don't know if we know where the real Texas is, because, you know, both of these teams were playing inferior competition and probably didn't show a lot. So I'm still not doubting Alabama, but I do look and I say, okay, you beat Middle Tennessee State the way that you did, but are you going to be able to out-athlete Texas? Are you going to be able to out-athlete Texas A&M, Georgia, Ole Miss, you know, those teams? You may have the advantage against Middle Tennessee State, but I think Alabama, you know, for a good first week performance, I mean, it's better than some, but I think there's still some questions around this football team rushing the football. Offensive line, maybe not as big and bad and bold as maybe what we thought it was a couple of weeks ago. But this Alabama team, you know, I feel better about the quarterback spot. You know, if you look at that, I think Jalen Milroe answered some questions that we had about.
Ryan Fowler, Rob Brown, great to have you on, buddy. Enjoy it. Let's talk a little bit about those quarterbacks, because coming in, the two storylines for both these teams, Kim Milroe replace Bryce Young, and can Quinn Ewers kind of be that guy? He beat out Arch Manning and a lot of folks started mentioning Quinn Ewers within the Heisman discussion. I think maybe just a touch early, but that's just me. Did either one of these guys in week 1 do anything against Rice or Middle Tennessee State that made you go, all right, that's the guy I'm going to back when they square off in week 2? Because neither one really jumped off the page, but neither one of them was really provided a platform, as you mentioned, going up against inferior competition. Did either one of those guys show you anything this past weekend that makes you think they could be a key when Alabama and Texas match up this weekend in week 2?
Yeah, I mean, let's take Jalen Milroe for just a minute and look at it. If Tommy Rees can use his skill set, because he showed you he did something that's never been done in Alabama history. I mean, he scored 3 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns. So there's no doubt he's the guy. I mean, until he proves you otherwise and Nick Saban has to go to somebody else, I mean, he's the starting quarterback. So I will be very curious, as much as I was to see him in start number 1. Let's see what happens, you know, when defenses show him a lot of different looks. And You look at Sark, already knows that Nick Saban style of play. So I'll be very curious. This is one of those that I think this is the proven, okay, you showed us that you have the potential. Let's see if you can back that up. Because I think he can. And I think when you look at his mobility, you're going to have to guard against this. I mean, the guy is, if you ever look at him, he's chiseled like, here in the South, we say Stone Mountain granite, right? It's just, it's where you want your kitchen countertops to be. It's carved out. If you look at Jalen Milroe, I mean, I'd like to know 5-6% body fat. I mean, he is just a beast out there. Well, let me add this to it. He's also the fastest guy on the team. So let that sink in. Physical style of play. These DBs are going to have to come up with a strategy and kind of make a business decision if you're going to tackle him. And I've been told in practice against Alabama's defensive backs or Alabama's linebackers, if they don't have even an advantage angle on him, he makes them look silly. So that's his strength when you look at the mobility, extended plays. I think he'll improve, continue. I mean, we saw him, from where we saw him last year or where we saw him at A-Day, which is Alabama's spring game. He made some significant steps under Tommy Rees. I mean, he was throwing the football with confidence. I still think there's more to him that can be added to that. So, but listen, to be fair, I don't know if I would put him right now in Quinn Ewers. But to me, that's an elite passer. I don't know if Jalen Milroe's there yet. But I think this week can give him that confidence. I mean, hey, if you go out and beat Texas by a good margin and you throw for the same type of production, he was the co-SEC, player of the week this past week. So if he does that again, then, the other conversation that you start having because of the production that he's going to put up both with his feet and his arm, do you say this guy could be in New York City if this type of production? Because, we love mobile quarterbacks, especially ones that can find the end zone.